All right, let's be honest. Have you ever found yourself just mindlessly scrolling through an app and then you look up and, whoa, an hour has totally vanished? Or maybe you felt that phantom buzz in your pocket, right? You check your phone, but there's nothing there. Well, it turns out these things are not accidents, not at all. Today, we're going to dive into the hidden psychology behind the products we just can't seem to put down, and it's all based on this incredible book by Nir Eyal called Hooked.
So what's with this number, 150? What do you think that is? Well, according to people in the know, industry insiders, that's how many times we check our phones. And not in a week, not in a month, every single day. I mean, that's just a staggering number when you think about it. And it really begs the question.
How on earth did our devices get so addictive? I mean, how did these little rectangles of glass and metal become so compelling? The truth? It is absolutely not by accident. It's by design. That's exactly it. Companies are intentionally designing their products to create these little compulsions in us, right? To form habits that make us come back again and again, and we don't even think about it. Our actions, our behavior, it's all been carefully engineered. So the big question is, how do they actually pull this off? Well, it all comes down to this really powerful four-step process. It's called the hook model, and you should really think of it as the blueprint. The master plan for building habits. It's a cycle that, once it gets going, is incredibly hard to break. And here it is. This is the engine of habit formation right here. You can see the model has 4 pretty simple steps. You've got a trigger, then an action, a variable reward, and finally an investment. Okay, let's break each one of these down.
Okay, so everything kicks off with a trigger. This is like the spark plug that gets the whole engine going. Now, it can be something external, like a notification that pops up, an email, or just seeing an app icon on your screen. But, and this is the really crucial part, it can also be internal. It can be a feeling. Think about it. Boredom, loneliness, even just a little bit of uncertainty. Those feelings become the triggers. So that little pang of loneliness hits, and what happens? Your thumb just instinctively opens up Instagram or Facebook.
So that trigger leads you to take an action. And the absolute key here is simplicity. For a habit to really stick, the action you have to take needs to be easier than thinking about it. We're talking a simple scroll, a single click, a quick search. The less friction, the less effort involved, the more likely we are to just do it. Okay, so after the action, we get to the real secret sauce of this whole thing, the variable reward. This is what separates a true hook from just a plain old feedback loop. See, our brains are wired to love rewards, but they go into absolute overdrive when that reward is unpredictable. I mean, just think of the infinite scroll on Instagram or TikTok. What's the next video going to be? It might be amazing. It might be, total junk. You have to keep swiping just to find out. And that is what activates the desire centers in your brain and creates this powerful craving for more. And this comparison just illustrates the difference perfectly. Think about a fridge light. It's predictable, right? It's useful, for sure. But you don't find yourself just opening the fridge door over and over again just to see the light turn on. But a slot machine, that's a whole different story. It's completely unpredictable. You never, ever know what you're going to get. And that variability, that uncertainty, is what keeps people pulling that lever. That's the exact same power these apps are harnessing.
And finally, we get to the last step, the investment. This is where we do a little bit of work. It could be something as small as following a new account, liking a post, or building a music playlist. Now, these little efforts, they increase our commitment to the product. But here's the really clever part. They also load the next trigger. We are literally giving the app the fuel it needs to start the entire cycle all over again, making the next hook even stronger and more effective. Okay, so we've seen how the hook works, step by step. Now let's talk about why. Why are these companies so completely obsessed with building habits in us? Well, the ultimate goal for them is something called unprompted engagement. That just means getting you to use their product without any external push whatsoever. So what's the end game here? It's to become your brain's automatic go-to solution for a specific feeling. Feeling bored? You open Instagram. Feeling curious? You search on Google. They want their product to enter this special place called the habit zone. So the habit zone. A product gets into this sweet spot when it has the perfect combo of high frequency of use and high perceived utility. Just think about searching on Google. For most of us, that happens so frequently it's just a default behavior we don't even think about it. Or what about shopping on Amazon? Maybe a bit less frequent, but the utility is so high that it becomes the go-to. And once a product gets itself into that habit zone, it is incredibly difficult for a competitor to kick it out.
There's this classic cliche you hear among investors all the time. Are you building a vitamin or a painkiller? Painkillers, they solve an obvious, urgent need. Vitamins, they're just kind of nice to haves. And what's fascinating is that most of these habit-forming products, they start out looking like vitamins. I mean, let's be real, no one ever woke up in the middle of the night screaming, "I absolutely need to post a photo with a vintage filter right now."
But here's the magic trick. This is where it all changes. As Nir Eyal puts it, a habit is really formed when not doing the action causes a little bit of pain. That nice-to-have vitamin, slowly, cleverly, turns itself into a painkiller. Just the thought of losing all your LinkedIn connections, or all those Instagram memories, that creates real discomfort, doesn't it? The product becomes the cure for an itch that it actually helped create in the first place.
So all of this brings us to a really important and maybe a little uncomfortable topic. Because this knowledge, this ability to build habits in people, it's like a new kind of superpower. And with great power, well, you know how that one goes.
You know, Eyal quotes a reader who told him, "If it can't be used for evil, it's not a superpower." And that's pretty heavy. Building these products is a form of manipulation. There's no way around it. Now, the book argues that designers have this moral responsibility to use these powerful techniques to help people live better lives, happier, healthier, more connected, to help us do the things we already want to do. But that potential for misuse, it's always there.
So the crucial takeaway here is this. The hook model isn't just some abstract theory. It's basically the operating manual for the digital world we all live in. And now that you know the blueprint, now that you can spot the triggers, the super simple actions, the variable rewards, and all those little investments you're making every single day, the next time you pick up your phone, are you going to see it differently?